Hello, Frank. Hello out there. Well, welcome to another edition of the McAnulty Method. We're here with financial expert Frank McAnulty, who's going to share his insights and knowledge with us so that we might live a healthier financial life. Frank, how are you doing?
Fine, and how are you, Bill?
I'm doing well. Now, the last time that we heard you, you were there was something you wanted to talk about, reverse mortgages. You were a little bit upset about it. So I thought maybe we could start off with that.
Well, I know, the purpose of this whole series is more geared towards the younger crowd. This is a way that maybe the younger crowd can help their parents, explain to their parents, keep them out of trouble. Because as we start to age, sometimes we don't think the best way, and since your parents might come to you and say, "Hey, we've heard about these reverse mortgages. What have you heard? What have you seen?" Well, and I've been looking at them for a while just because I'm curious. It's a financial thing. And, they're not, on the face of them, a bad idea. Especially you're sitting on a house, you've lived there your whole life, 30 years. You've paid off the mortgage, you're sitting on $500,000 in California, $1 million worth of equity. And sure, that'd be nice to have a little extra money coming in every month, take some financial edge off that. But what's the real story behind them? And I actually found out the real story behind them the other day by talking to somebody that works in the industry.
Oh.
And I still believe that a reverse mortgage can be a good thing, but like everything, you got to be careful with which one you get.
All right. So just real quickly explain to us what a reverse mortgage is and what it does.
Well, a reverse mortgage is, you've probably seen the ads, or you will, you're over 62, you've got all this equity in your house. Somebody wants to give you money every month against that equity. And so in essence, it's rather than when you take out a mortgage, let's say, rather than taking out a $500,000 mortgage to buy a house, you now have a $500,000 house, and they're going to give you a little money each month against that house. So your mortgage, instead of going down over time, goes up over time. Hence the name reverse mortgage.
All right.
Now, what really got me torqued is, as I was talking to somebody who's involved in this industry, I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to give any hints or anything. I don't want to get them in trouble.
Right.
About how they really work. And so here's how this company works. And I'm going to try to use numbers that are easy to use because we don't want to think too hard. So let's say your parents are 74 years old. You'll see why in a minute. So when you go to the reverse mortgage company, they say, okay, we're going to assume you're going to live to 99. And we're going to pay you monthly based on that 99 number. So if you're 74, you're going to live, according to them, another 25 years. And so they can give you payments for 25 years. Great. Now, let's say you have a house that's free and clear that's worth $1 million. You can get an appraisal today for $1 million. Well, they're going to lend you based on half of that value. So they're going to lend you up to $500,000 based on 25 years. So they're willing to give you $20,000 a year for 25 years against your house, which works out to, divided by 12, what's that? A little over $1,500 a month. Okay, not bad. Gives you extra spending money, more Christmas presents for the kids and grandkids, whatever. It's nice to have that money coming in. And the interest rates right now aren't too bad. They're right around the low 3% level. So far sounds pretty good, doesn't it? I mean, it makes sense. And you're keeping your house. So if the value keeps going up, you're getting that appreciation. So it can be a good deal. Here's where the bad deal comes in. It got me really upset. Is that the company that my friend works for charges 18% fees up front. So on that same $500,000 loan, they're going to charge you $90,000 to do this loan.
Wow.
Day one, you're going to get hit with it. Your loan's going to start at $90,000 and they're taking that money.
Wow.
So technically, you could die the day after you take out this loan, and you've spent $90,000 for a loan that you've got 1 month's worth of payment out of.
Wow.
I'm still really bothered by that. So I asked the question, does everybody charge this amount? Well, no, others charge more on average, 6%. Okay, still a hunk of money,
Yeah.
but it's not 18%. I mean, it's still, in my example, still a $30,000 fee to do this, which still seems very high, but it's not 90,000. And if it's your only asset and you really could use the money, I don't see a problem with it. But I guess the like everything, you've got to shop around. You've got to look at what's the best upfront deal, because it's always those costs that get you. And as you can tell, I'm still really bothered by that 18%. It's just, and then I said, well, what happens if somebody comes to you and says, well, somebody else will do it for less? Oh, we'll do it for less. So if you don't know, they're going to take advantage of you. If you do know, they're going to come down potentially to what the market rate is. You know, and so, like I said, I've always wanted to know a lot about those mortgages. Now I do. I guess I'm hoping I never have to use one, because just paying that fee up front would kill me. The interest rate's not bad; it's in the low 3s right now, so that's not a bad deal. You can find somebody to give you money on your money every month, and it's only a 3% loan. Yeah, it's a good deal. But just wanted to bring that up to people before we got into regular mortgages, that if your parents ever ask you, I'm not convinced they're a bad thing. If you need the money and you can really use the money, probably a good thing. And especially, say you live for that 25 years, well, now you amortize that 6% fee over 25 years.
Yeah.
It's not right away, but that was the part that really bothered me.
Yeah. No, it sounds a little bit like it's a real racket.
Well, it's I guess it's like a lot of things, that once you get older, there's a lot of people out there willing to take advantage of you. So help your parents out, help your grandparents out. Talk to, even if they don't bring this up, you see this, talk to them about it and say, I need to tell you something about reverse mortgages, just so you're aware.
There you go. All right. Well, and speaking of our viewers who are going to help out their parents and grandparents, let's shift gears and talk to them about a mortgage they might get.
Well, mortgages right now are the cheapest they've ever been. I can't say the cheapest they'll ever be, because every time we think that, they figure out a way to run rates down. I had this conversation with somebody last night, in this country, based on the tax laws and everything, the best way to build wealth is through real estate. And so buy it. Buy real estate as soon as you can. And I know you're sitting there going, oh, yeah, houses are $600,000-$700,000. How can I afford that? And you're right, it's tough. But maybe you can get into a property with partners, something, because somebody's going to lend you money at 3 to 4% for 30 years. It's not going up. That's the greatest deal you're ever going to get. Because once you buy that house, once you buy that piece of property, your mortgage payment, the principal and interest on the loan, will never go up because you're getting a fixed rate loan. And notice I said you're getting a fixed rate loan. I didn't say you can get a fixed rate loan. No, you're getting a fixed rate loan. And I'll explain that a little more. Because at these interest rates, nobody should get an adjustable rate mortgage. And I think, talking about mortgages is simple. Get one. Find a way to get a piece of property now and get a mortgage, whether it's a 1-bedroom condo, whether it's a house, whatever. Get a mortgage, but get a fixed rate mortgage. And here's why. Here's my other caveat for the day. And this is another thing that really bothered me. I guess I've been bothered a lot recently. Because all of a sudden, adjustable rate mortgages are back. And they're back in a big way.
Wow. With as low as interest rates are, that's kind of surprising to
me. It is to me too, because I went out and looked. I said, okay, adjustable rate mortgages, what are they going for? Are they going for 0.5%? No, they're going for about 2.25%. So you're really 1% less than a fixed rate mortgage at 3.25%. And so let's think about that. If I've got, let's say I'm buying something with a $500,000 mortgage, 1% difference is going to be a $6,000 a year difference in interest to start with, or $500 a month. Not a trivial sum. But if your budget's so tight that you have to get an adjustable rate mortgage to start paying on the house, then maybe your budget's too tight. Maybe you shouldn't be buying the house. Because here's what happens with an adjustable rate mortgage. And this is fairly standard. There might be some different, but after the first year, that mortgage can go up by 2%.
Wow. So
it can go to 4.25%. It can basically double in cost after the first year. And over the life of that mortgage, it can go up 5%. So, and this is what happened. Bill, you and I lived through the last mortgage crisis. This is what happened the last time. Everybody went out and got adjustable rate mortgages. They got, it's not going to go up. Well, let's go back to my example. You bought the house for you got a $500,000 mortgage at 2.25%. Well, it just went up 2%. And over the course of the year, you really haven't paid down much in the way of interest on that house. So your $500,000 mortgage, instead of having a little over $10,000 a year in interest on it, now has $20,000.
Yeah.
You just added $800 a month to your mortgage. And say over the next 3 years, it just goes up 1% more a year. So now you've added 5% or $25,000 a year to your mortgage payment.
Wow.
So you're in essence you're taking the risk of going up by $2,000 a month in your mortgage payment. And you can say, oh, I'm going to get a raise, I'm going to get a different job. Okay. Once again, I'm not going to tell anybody they can't do something. I'm going to tell somebody they shouldn't do something, in my opinion. But that's that scares me. That really scares me. And adding to that, they're also letting people get into mortgages for much less down than they are used to. Now, after the mortgage crisis, it was 20% down, fixed rate, on and on and on. Now I've heard them advertise 5%, 10% is extremely common. The thing is, I said earlier, the way to get wealth in this country is through real estate, but you got to hold on to the real estate. Because over time, even after the crash in 2008, oh yeah, what did real estate go down? 40%, some places 50%, some places 90%. But 12 years later, 13 years later, we're probably almost double where it used to be before the crash. So if you're going to stay in your house long enough, and you can afford to stay in your house long enough, it'll work its way out in the long run. And so that's my real concern with these ARMs. That we're gonna get into a bunch of foreclosures again when interest rates go up, and it's going to hurt everybody.
Well, you said something in one of the earlier videos that said, it was the same kind of message. Try and get into real estate as early as you can. Said, but make sure you can afford that mortgage, because if for some reason you can't, then suddenly you lose the house and you've gone through all that for nothing or less than nothing.
Right. And you've lost money too, and you've hurt your credit, and on and on and on. So I think right now being able to buy a piece of property and getting a fixed rate loan on it is the greatest thing on earth, because the rates are crazy low. And you're gonna lock in that payment as long as you can. I don't recommend people buying properties with a girlfriend or boyfriend or significant other. You never know how that's going to work, and that can turn out really bad. And if you do decide to get into a partnership with people in real estate, put everything in writing. Absolutely everything that's going to happen, that can happen, that you can think of. Whether or not you agree to revisit selling the property once a year, that if somebody doesn't make their contributions to the upkeep of the property or the mortgage, what happens in those instances. Because like anything, everybody goes into it with the best intentions. Everything is wonderful. It's rosy. Birds are singing, sun's shining. But things happen. What if somebody gets offered a really good job and they have to move away? Well, what do they, hey, I'm not living there anymore. I'm not sharing it. How do we? So I know I'm supposed to be talking about mortgages, but mortgages are simple. Get one. Get a fixed rate mortgage as soon as you can, because it's the greatest deal in the history of finance. It truly is.
All right. Well, I don't know. That might be a good place to stop. Greatest deal in the history of finance. Unless you have any closing thoughts, Frank.
No, you could tell. I firmly believe that it is. I still remember, and people don't believe me, but I had a 16.5% mortgage at one time.
Oh, I remember a guy bought the apartment building I was living in, and he had an 18% mortgage.
Right, and look, house mortgages not too long ago were in the 8, 7s. They've been coming down, but they were 8% for a long time, and 7, then 6. Whoa, we get a 6% mortgage. It's the greatest deal on earth. And now we're all sitting on 3% mortgages, somewhere in that range.
All right, so then you should get mortgages fast.
You should, as long as you can, like you said, as long as you can afford to keep the property, and because you want to hold it for that 30 years. Even if it's a house you're going to buy and live in now, it's not your forever home, they like to say. That's a great way to start on getting a rental. Get the house, live in it, even with roommates for a few years. And then it's like, okay, I'm done living here. I want to live on my own. I really don't want to live in this house anymore. Maybe, hopefully the value's gone up enough. You could take some equity out, use that to buy the house you want to live in, and now make this a rental and have the tenants pay it off and and that's part of your retirement plan right there.
All right. Well, it sounds good. I just wish I'd written that down about 30 years ago.
Yeah, we keep saying that.
All right. Well, thank you, Frank. And again, great advice. I can't wait to hear what you talk to us about next time.
Me neither, because I don't know what it's going to be yet. But we'll come up with something.
All right. Adios. Thank you very much.
Thanks.